We're here to talk with Cocalico Boys head soccer coach Derek Sipe, and boy, great year for you guys last year. You really seem to just keep setting that bar and keeping it at a high level. Section champs, in the leagues, in the districts, in the state. So just talk to us about going into this year, how you keep this program moving forward and competing at such a high level.
I think a lot of it comes down to the seniors on a year in, year out basis. And it's kind of always been that way, but once you sprinkle in some success along the way, you just want to keep getting back to that moment and making it, gaining further than the groups before you, and making the situation that we are as a program, pushing it to new levels. And I think we've done that in one way or another for a number of years now in a row. And I think that's the expectations that the seniors see as they're coming up through the years. And when it's their turn to take the ropes, I think that's the goals that they have to push the program further, to achieve things that we haven't done before. Speaking of last year, we tasted some success. We had moments of brilliance as a program, but I think if you take all three postseason tournaments that we qualified for, we were disappointed in the outcomes of them. I think 2 of the 3 we thought we were the better team in the games that we lost, and the district semifinals against Weiser, I think we felt like we didn't play our best. There was moments in the game where we had opportunities and we're close, but as a whole, over 80 minutes, I don't think we showed our best in that night, and that's disappointing when you look back after the season that you got to one of those stages and you weren't able to show your best. So, I think we're hungry as a team to push beyond what we did in all 3 tournaments last year, and obviously you got to qualify for them first, so every game is really, really important throughout the regular season, but there's big expectations, and those don't drop regardless of who we lose, who we graduate. Those expectations remain the same, if not push higher.
So much to touch on there, but yeah, you had some incredible seniors last year, and Talentopoulos was a goal-scoring machine. How do you fill some of those holes in the lineup now?
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate that it's 4. So 4 is a small number that graduate. However, it's a very impactful 4. Not only talent with obviously section MVP and being one of the All-State nominees for our league, but Cade Upson led our team in assists on the wing. Aaron Wilczek was our mainstay in goal for a number of years, and Cohen Stoltzfus competed like crazy as a center back for us. So 4 very impactful guys that we're going to have replaced. But I think as a team, depth was always one of our strengths for the past 2-3 years. And we had a lot of guys that were young growing up, following those guys, following their footsteps, that aren't young anymore. They're juniors and seniors and the upperclassmen that have been ready for years, but we didn't necessarily need them as much, where they're ready to step into big time roles. And it'll be fun for me as a coach knowing how many guys we have that are special and talented, and seeing who's ready to take those reins. I think we have several guys that can score goals, but you need, especially in big games, you need those 1 or 2 that you can count on. And Talon did that for us a lot last year, in big moments, scoring some big goals. So I'm excited to see who's ready to fill those shoes, who wants to step into that role and take not just the couple of goals that you can give us, but who's going to step into those double-digit figures.
So don't quite know who that is yet.
I think time will tell. We're still figuring out positions a little bit, with our front 3 being kind of lost. And guys getting shuffled positions a bit, and guys stepping into bigger shoes. So, I'm excited as a coach to see where that leads, and who takes the reins and runs with it.
How does Cocalico fit in Section 2? Obviously the champs last year, and really felt like a nice home for you guys.
Yeah, the expectation's the same, but last year we learned that Section 2, there's no nights off. There's teams that records don't look great, but they're going to give you a game, because the section's full of talented players, and there's coaches that are committed and do a wonderful job preparing their teams day in, day out. So, our last game of our regular season in the league last year, we played E-Town, who was playing for nothing, but gave us one heck of a game and played 100 minutes, and 0-0 was the game. So a team that had nothing to play for, but was willing to commit defensively to what they did. There's just no easy game. So I think that's the biggest thing that we realized. But CV returns a ton of guys from a team that was just about there with us. Some offensive firepower that's scary to look at and think about. So we're gonna have our hands full with them, and a lot of those other teams that struggled to compete but were close had a lot of younger guys that are back and have a year under their belt and have that experience now. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of steps they take as programs. But yeah, it's Section 2's no joke. There's a lot of competition, and we're going to need to be ready day in, day out if we hope to achieve what we did last year.
Yeah, it makes it fun to be in it, compete in it, but also to cover it for media outlets. So we're looking forward to that, and we're going to have you guys on plenty, including the Backyard Brawl, which everybody knows I love. And speaking of fun, more of a pleasure and a bonus for your team this summer. You guys got to go on a trip with most of the team to Spain. What was the reason you wanted to do that, and what did it accomplish?
Well, it really came about almost 2 years ago now. Conrad Weiser, speaking of them again, we became close with their team and their coach, and they've been doing this for a number of years. So I talked to them. He had a great experience. We actually went through the same tour company that they use, but he listed a number of things, even things like getting to know the parents a little bit on a different level, and then seeing the boys get that type of experience outside of soccer, the majority of it. So from there, we were off and running. I think the biggest thing that allowed us to do this is just the commitment that we have, not just from the players, but the parents as well. So I was shocked with how many people outside of our team wanted to come be a part of it. And we ended up taking 24 adults along on the trip. And I think they had a good a time as the players did, but it was fantastic to give everyone that experience, to be able to do it together. And I think soccer-wise, we gained so much, and adding like 4 extra scrimmages at a very, very high level. Not just soccer, but the fitness that we were able to pick up. I think we're ahead of where we typically would be heading into the preseason next week. But the time together is just so impactful, and the moments that they got as individuals and as a team outside of soccer were the things that I look back on and from the trip and really appreciate and really enjoy, and proud to say that I was able to help these guys get that experience.
All right, well, all things looking up here for Cocalico. Again, looking forward to seeing you guys for the season, and appreciate you coming on, sharing some of your thoughts and everything, and getting us ready for the season. Thanks
Absolutely.
for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Chad.